I'd rather be remembered as someone who did good for other people and was generous with other people than be remembered for having died rich. And that's Artie Birdsall.
Basically, I started with the old-time family stuff, and then I'll jump right up to 1971. As a kid in the 60s, I'd walk to my Uncle Charlie's. He had wildfowler decoys. It was 5 houses away from my dad's house. He asked me if I wanted to work there. Oh yeah, okay. And I loved it. I loved it.
When he first started working for his Uncle Charlie, they were producing hundreds of decoys a week. So there are a lot of wildfowler, a lot of decoys there that have, in one way, shape, or form, the Birdsall stamp on them.
Artie is a 4th generation. He started making decoys with his Uncle Charlie, which was the 3rd. His other uncle was Nathan Birdsall, and he was a decoy maker. And then, of course, his great-grandfather. So Artie has that tree effect, you know, basically in his family, been doing it for years. And one thing I like about Artie, and one of the things that really come to my mind, was his integrity. His integrity is second to none. And the passion, like I've mentioned before, and the love for decoys and helping people to learn and understand, and even showing them how to make decoys.
Usually right out of my shop, I would go to some shows. Tuckerton Seaport was down that way. The Tuckerton show was one of the best. Our club shows in New Jersey, Decoy Collectors Association. We had shows, I sold there. I became more local. The local first aid in Point Pleasant, they had a decoy show. I went there. Like I said, a lot of people started coming here.
We have done a lot of decoy shows together, maybe 100 over the years, and you would look over to Art's table and where he was set up, and he'd always have, I'll call it a crowd of people around him. He was very generous with his knowledge, and very well respected in the decoy community.
I had introduced myself to Artie back then, looking for old decoys, and he started explaining to me the different histories of what he called Loveland Town, which was an area up there where they had decoy makers and different ones that made different decoys. And just give me a little bit of history, and I kind of felt really comfortable with Artie. Artie was a mellow guy. He was a guy that was just a little laid back, but very personable. He had a lot of interest in decoys then, and I remember the passion that he had for them.
Back in 1985, Pat wrote a little booklet called Barnegat Bay Decoys and Gunning Clubs. And she mentions Artie in that book as one of her sources. She says that it's important that we record the lives and the tales of Barnegat Bay gunners and decoy makers. I think as years go by, he'll be remembered 100 years from now as Ocean County's folk artist that produced America's finest folk art. And you know, decoys are America's finest folk art.
And then I got to mention Jimmy Allen. When he put my name up, that was like unbelievable, because he's got one of the greatest collections in Jersey now. And so he knows, let's say, everybody and everything. And he picks me. Whew. Come on, Jim. Thank you. Thank you.
When I was asked, Artie just came right to the top of the list, okay? He was just, it was like spur of the moment. I was asked, and he just jumped right in my frame.
Artie Birdsall, decoy maker.